Hello dear learners, I am Madhuri Buddha from Department of Education, Maharishi Dayal University, Rohtak. Today we are going to discuss about various designs for conducting experimental research. In our previous video, we discussed the main categories of research design like pre-experimental research design, true experimental research design, factorial designs and quasi-experimental designs. Under these main categories of designs, 12 experimental designs are there. So let us discuss one design by one. First is one group pre-test post-test design. In such a design, a single group is used. No control group is formed for comparison, and for this single group, dependent variable is measured before the introduction of the treatment. Then the treatment is introduced and the dependent variable is measured again after the treatment. There are some limitations of this design as this is pre-experimental design. So, under the limitation we can say no control group is used. So, it cannot be said that the gain, if any, is due to the experimental treatment or by some any other intervening variable. Second design under pre-experimental design is two-group static design. In this design, two groups, experimental and control are there, and experimental group is exposed to experimental treatment and control group is not exposed to experimental treatment. No pretest is used and measures for dependent variable for the two groups are compared after the experimental treatment. So, what are the limitations of this design? In this design also, it is assumed that both the groups, experimental and control group, are equivalent with respect to the dependent variable. And this design doesn't use randomization or any other technique to equalize the groups, so necessary control is lacking. The difference between the two post-test scores cannot be said to the effect of the treatment. Second category is true experimental design. True experiment design are most commonly used designs in experimental researches because of their adequacy, control and simplicity. Under true experimental design, first is two groups randomized subjects post-test only design. This design is one of the most efficient experimental design and this is the simplest possible design which provides adequate control. The subjects are randomly assigned to two groups, experimental group and control group. No pretest is used and random assignment of subjects to two groups ensure the equivality between the two groups and any difference between the two groups is minimized and it can be said that these are due to the chance. Only the experimental group is exposed to experimental treatment and after the experimental treatment the subjects are measured on the dependent variable and statistical comparison is made. If we see that the limitation of this design, we can say there are some situations where it is not possible for the researcher to select subjects at random from the desired population. And the next design is two groups randomized matched subjects post-test only design. In addition to the randomization technique of equating the groups which we discussed in design 3, matching is also used in this design and matching adds to the strength of this design and the subjects from the interested population are matched and paired on the scores of the variables which have significant correlation between the dependent variable and can be measured feasibly. One subject of each pair is randomly assigned to one group and the other subject to the other group. And then after that assignment of the subjects to the groups, the experimental treatment is exposed to experimental group is exposed to experimental treatment and control group is given no treatment. And after that the post-test scores are made. What are the limitations of this design? The researcher faces the problem of how closely to match the subjects on the variable. Matching gives its limitations over here. If the researcher increases the precision, then the sample will become small. Secondly, the problem comes while selecting the variables which are known to have significant relationship between the dependent variable. Means the researcher faces difficulty in identifying the variables on which he is to match the subjects. Next design is design 5 under true experimental design, which is randomized groups pre-test post-test design. In this design, the subjects are assigned randomly to two groups, control group and experimental group. Before experimental treatment, measures on dependent variable for both the groups are taken as pre-test and pre-test for control group. Only the experimental group is exposed to experimental treatment and after treatment, scores on dependent variable for both the groups are taken and the difference are analyzed statistically. So what are the limitations of this design? Because of the pre-test, and because of this increased sensitivity, they behave with the experimental treatment in a different manner. External validity or generalizability of this design become questionable, and reactive effect also intervene the results. So the next design is design 6 under true experimental design, which is Solomon 3 equivalent group design. This design overcomes the weakness of generalizability which we encountered in design 5, and it adds one more control group that is not pre-tested, but it is exposed to experimental treatment. This adds more control. Experimental group and one control group is pre-tested on the measure of dependent variable. One control group is not pre-tested, but it is exposed to same experimental treatment as that of the experimental group, and post-test scores of all the three groups are analyzed. What is the strength of this design? Addition of second control group provides more control over the interactive effect of pre-testing and experimental group. Next is Solomon 4 equivalent group design. This design is probably the most powerful experimental design. Here the researcher forms 4 groups by randomization techniques. 2 groups are designed as experimental and 2 groups are designed as control. 2 experiments are conducted at the same time. The experimental group and 1 control group are administered pre-test. Rest 2 control groups are not pre-tested. The control groups which are not pre-tested are designed to have one group by experimental treatment, other group by conventional treatment. After treatment, post-test scores of all the 4 groups on dependent variables are taken and analyzed statistically. So this design is very strong in providing the control over the extraneous variable. Added control over effects which may occur between pre-test and post-test. 2 times experiments are conducted, so more confidence is there in the findings. There are some limitations. Limitation is feasibility to carry out this design is very low because it becomes very difficult in practical situations to conduct experiments on this design. The next type of design after true experimental designs is factorial designs. In case of behavioral sciences, single independent variable does not affect the dependent variable. Most of the times, independent variable alone may not produce the same effect as it might in interaction with another independent variable. So in social phenomenon, a large number of factors affect particular problem. Over here, factorial designs are used in experiments where the effects of more than one factor are determined. R.A. Fisher has developed these factorial designs for the study of complex interactions in social sciences, and factorial designs evaluates 2 or more variables simultaneously in order to study the effect of more than one independent factor as their main effect and effects due to interaction with another. Factorial designs are of various types. First is simple factorial design. In these designs, effect of 2 factors on the dependent variable are considered. These designs may be the 2 by 2 simple factorial design or 3 by 4 or 5 by 3 or many such type of designs can be made. Let us discuss very simple 2 by 2 factorial design. In 2 by 2 factorial design, there are 2 independent variables and each has 2 values. The first independent variable is called experimental variable and the second independent variable is called control variable. Control variable has 2 levels and experimental variable also has 2 levels. In this way, there will be 4 cells into which the sample is divided, and each of the 4 combinations will provide one experimental condition. The means of 4 different cells may be obtained along with the means of different rows and columns, and means of different cells are the mean scores of dependent variable, and the column means in the given design are termed of the main effect of the treatments. Similarly, row means in this design are termed as main effect 4 cells. Till now, the main effects of both the variables can be studied. In addition to this, interaction effect between the treatments and levels, experimental variable and control variable can also be studied. For the detailed description of this 2 by 2 design, you have to see the script which is added about this video. Simple 2 by 2 factorial design. Suppose a researcher studies the effectiveness of team teaching in comparison to lecture method or achievement in science for 10th grade students. The researcher comes to believe that there may be a differential effect of these methods for 2 different levels of intelligence of the students. On the basis of IQ, he divides the population into 2 groups, one group with high intelligence and another group for low intelligence. The researcher randomly selects 50 students from the groups from high intelligence and treated 25 students with team teaching and 25 students with conventional methods. He did the same with low intelligence group also. What he does, the group with high intelligence and the group with low intelligence. There are two groups. With high intelligence group, he teaches with team teaching and teaching with conventional method, and the group with low intelligence, the researcher teaches one group with team teaching and the another group with conventional method. So in both the groups, group with high intelligence and group with low intelligence, both the methods are used. Mean scores for the cells are analyzed and difference is analyzed. Next is experimental designs of quasi-experimental designs. In experimental situations, it is not always possible for the researcher to design subjects randomly to groups. In such cases where the researcher is not able to divide the subjects randomly, he uses experimental designs which are quasi in nature, which also provide control under the existing conditions. First is non-randomized control group pre-test post-test design. See, in practical school situations, it is not always possible to collect the students, then apply randomization and to get the equivalent group. In these situations, the researcher may use intact classes as the two groups. The two classes are given pre-test, then these pre-test scores are analyzed to ensure the equivalence of the groups. And if the groups are not equivalent, the researcher will use techniques of analysis of covariance, and then the treatment is given and the post-test scores are analyzed. So intact classes gives naturalness to the design. Then design 10, counterbalance design. This design also uses intact classes as it is also a quasi-experimental design and removes some limitations of the design 9 by rotating the groups during the experiment. Each group of the subject has exposed to each experimental treatment during the experiment. For example, if group 1 is given treatment X and group 2 is given treatment X2, then next time group 1 is given treatment X2 and group 2 is given treatment X1. So treatment is rotated and the sum of the scores of the two groups are compared statistically. Apart from the above stated features of good research design, there are some other considerations which are specific to the particular type of research. If the research is exploratory in nature, where the purpose of research is discovery of ideas or ideology, then the research design will be flexible enough to permit the inclusion of all different types of different aspects of the phenomenon. Whereas in descriptive research, where the facts are accurately and precisely described, or the relationship between the variables are minutely studied, or in the studies where the causal relationship is studied, research design must provide a reliability of evidences and it should minimize the biases. In behavioral sciences, the research types are not like watertight containers and it becomes very difficult to label a particular study, a particular type of research. Generally, the research is labeled as particular type of research on the basis of primary function it serves and accordingly the choice of research design is made. So, the friends, I hope you have enjoyed this learning session and I hope you must have gained some benefit out of it and thank you.